Hi there, and welcome back to the greatest era of the Pokemon TCG. I wanted to update you guys with some of the new rules that I would go with if I was going to redo the Pokemon TCG, which is kind of what I'm doing here. So, there's just two that are major, at least in my opinion. For the most part, the rules make sense for Pokemon, but there are two that have always kind of bothered me. The first one is that prize cards should actually not be prize cards. If you remember from the video games or the TV show, the indicators that told you how many Pokemon were remaining were for your own Pokemon, not for the amount of Pokemon that you still need to knock out. So, if I had any power with Pokemon International, I would say that there needs to be a hard reset, and we need to make prize cards reversed. So when you have your own Pokemon knocked out, you take the prize card. And this would line up with the way that the video game tracked them. In the video game, if you remember back from even the very first Pokemon game, you would have the little Pokeball icons next to your trainer, and then between each knockout you would see that, and then your opponent would know how many Pokemon were still left to knock out. So your icons would track your Pokemon. And this also was the way that it worked in the TV show. So when there would be a tournament or the league at the end of an arc, they would show the trainer icon up on the big Jumbotron and all of the Pokemon that they still had. And then when their Pokemon would be knocked out, that section of the Jumbotron would go dark. And so that would be the way that they were tracked. So the TCG has always been backwards, in my opinion. For prize cards in real life for the TCG, it works, but it just doesn't follow the flavor that Pokemon had set already. The next one is a real simple one, is that bench spots and the active spot should be numbered, because if you have a dice handy, and most people actually use dice instead of coin flips because they work better, it just makes sense to allow for this. And there were cards in the Game Boy game that taught us the TCG, at least it taught me as well as a lot of other kids that are my age when we were growing up how to play. There were cards that allowed for random things to happen. So if you look at a playmat here, this is where you have your active Pokemon out in the front. This could be number 1, and then your bench spots 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then an attack could have an effect that says roll 2 6-sided die, or just roll 2 dice, and this attack deals 20 damage to both of the results, or something like that. It would allow for a lot more randomness. It would allow for a lot more excitement, you could say. So let's say, for example, I've got an active Pokemon, and I only have one Pokemon that's here on spot number 2, 3, 4. So my opponent has an attack that says that they only do 1 dice, or like 3 dice, and then whatever those rolls are, it deals 20 damage to that. So it could do damage to numbers 2, 3, and 6, or it could do damage to number 4, 4, and 4. So that could be an exciting way for damage to be spread out, or to be concentrated on the off chance that you roll the same number over and over again. So just two things that I thought were kind of nonsensical, the way that the real Pokemon TCG does it, and it would be a really easy change to make. Although switching up how prize cards works, I think, would be tricky for anybody that's actually played a lot, because it's just instinctive to, when you knock out a Pokemon, take a prize card, which would make sense, but I think it makes more sense to do it the other way. Now I want to show you guys one of the projects that I've been working on. So we've got the Gym Challenge, and I also have the Gym Heroes started as well. One of the nice things about making your own cards and also using Magic Set Editor to do it, is that you can keep track of all this stuff. And I wanted to point out Misty's Gyarados here, and I can't get onto the internet because my internet has been crappy the last couple of days, so sorry about that, but I did still want to show you guys this. So in the real Pokemon TCG, in real life, Misty's Gyarados is almost unusable. There was a way that you could do it with Brock's Ninetales, so that way you got rid of the Pokemon power. The Pokemon power on the actual Gyarados makes it almost inevitable that you will have to take the Misty's Gyarados, Misty's Magikarp underneath it, and then any energy cards as well as any Pokemon tool cards that are attached, and to have to shuffle them back into your deck. So that means that you've spent possibly four turns setting up the Tidal Wave attack, only to not be able to use it and then have to shuffle it back in, which means that you would have to draw into Misty's Magikarp again, and draw into the Gyarados again, and then have to evolve it, and all the stuff that would come along with that. But I thought that the Misty's Gyarados card looked really cool, and I would always want to use it, even though I never owned one for myself when I was a kid. But even if I did have it, it wouldn't be usable, or it would be something niche that would simply be a celebration if it ever worked, where you could actually keep it on the playing field for any extended period of time. But with Magic Set Editor, what we can do is tinker around with a Pokemon power like Rebellion, and then figure out, is this too easy to keep it on? Is this something that can actually be balanced, or is it too powerful? And after some play testing, the nice thing about just printing your own cards is you can go back in here. Let's say we want to do, instead of 2 coins, we want to do 3 coins. Or if we wanted to up it to 4 coins, or whatever. We have the ability to do that. So let's say 2 coins is too few, so we want to increase that to 3. And now we decided that 3 coins is the perfect number, and now that can be what we actually go with. And you can do that with any of the cards that you've got here. And Magic Set Editor keeps track of all of them, so that way you don't have to remember what it was, or you don't have to draw it on a piece of paper and then cross it out, and then you've run out of room because you've crossed out the number so many times, and now you need to make a completely new one. So it's really nice that you can just come in here, make a quick edit, and then print them back out again, which, again, I'll show you guys that in another video when the time comes. But I did want to show you guys that. So that is the video that I wanted to share with you guys today. So until next time, we'll see you.